Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bearded Reviews, the movie podcast. I'm Matt from That Matt85, and I'm here with my pal Pat.
Hey, how's it going?
And today we got a few things for you, a couple of news stories, a couple of movie reviews, and we'll be going over the movies we're most looking forward to for the year 2020 once they start showing movies again. So we'll start today with news, and I believe you alerted me to this story. So you go ahead and introduce it, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think it was announced a couple weeks ago. It might have been a week ago, but the Academy is pushing the Oscars back to I want to say April 9th for the for COVID because of COVID. I know it's in April now, so I'm not sure how that's going to affect the shows. What do you think?
I think they're scared of Sonic running away with all the Oscars, so no. uh, yeah, it's definitely going to change things. I mean, I can understand what they're trying to do. At least I believe what they're trying to do is make it so that all the movies that were supposed to come out this year have a chance to be screened before they do the Oscars.
That's exactly what they're doing.
I guess that, I mean, I don't, I'm guessing that most of the movies, the whole schedule is just going to be pushed back. But there's a chance that they're just going to cram everything in too, so that this ends up allowing a lot of movies that would have been held to the year after to be in this year's. But I guess at the end of the day, the awards were going to be weird no matter what. So is it going to be weird because there's not as many movies, or is it going to be weird because there's too many movies? It's up to the Academy what they want to do, and as much as I bash on the Academy for being a fake award show, it is still the one that I pay attention to.
I think it's all going to depend on what the situation is in April, as far as how it's going to affect the show, if it even ends up airing at that time, if there's not more lockdowns. I mean, right now it looks like it's probably going to go on as planned, but
That's very
it's
true.
another, yeah. And the other thing is, I think Black Lives Matter and the current climate of the culture and everything else is going to have more effect on the Oscars this year than the change. As some, along with COVID, COVID's going to have an impact as well. It already has, but I think Black Lives Matter and just the current climate, social, everything. Like even Me Too has been even more amplified over the last few months than it was, and Me Too has already had a huge effect on that show. And the political, it's just going to keep evolving and changing with the way times are. I think that's going to have more effect on the Oscars than the date, but that's just me.
It's hard to tell. I mean, I already see the Black Lives movement is starting to wane from where it was even a couple of weeks ago. If it's going to be a big deal still, if they're still going to try and ignore it's hard to tell. Well, it depends too if they want to focus on the movie industry again, because I know that forced some change, and I think for the better last time that it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And if they focus on it again, or if they feel like they already got the change they wanted, then maybe they won't. But again, it's a possibility. It's hard to tell this far out. Just like you're saying with how COVID will affect it, it could be a resurgence of COVID. I couldn't imagine. And here's a good question for you: if there is rampant COVID and there's most places still aren't allowing gatherings, do you imagine Oscars would do an online show, do the awards without the show, or just keep pushing it back, or cancel it altogether? Which do you think would be more likely?
I think it's all going to depend on what comes out, because we've got to look at it right now. Like it comes down to what comes out and how if there's any more shutdowns, when the movie theaters open, how many movies are able to screen. Do they shut it down in between Oscar season? It's all gonna depend on what happens. But I think they would. But I think that's a last ditch effort. They're gonna try to have that show any way they can, without having to go online. But it's all gonna depend on what happens and how much longer the theaters are closed because yeah, they were announced they're supposed to open I think in August or end of July, but it hasn't been. They've announced other dates that have been pushed back until they open. And that's gonna be the determining factor, I think.
That part of that too. Sometimes movies will be part of the Oscars before they even get a really wide release or much. I mean, they have to have a release, but sometimes it just needs to be in a few theaters. Uh, so that made me wonder if they would all these movies would try to get little releases just so they could be included, and if that'd be enough for
Yeah.
the Oscars, or if they really do want to have enough of them in theaters to help promote themselves and help promote the movies.
Well, it's like I said, the main factor is if the movie theaters don't open, and the streaming business opens up a little more, and they get a little more business, maybe they loosen the prices because they can't make money on the movies. The amount they're charging for the new movies, it's no way they're making as good of money as they could be at $20 a rental. Is I don't know anybody who's willing to pay that price more than a couple times for what they really want to see.
Yeah,
So
I think not to defend them too much on this. I think the reason why they have the prices around like $20 is probably because they're expecting people to watch, like four, five, six people per rental
yeah,
because they're all in the same house. But that's not everybody. And the people that are just in their house by themselves, they're the only one that want to watch it. They're not going to want to pay $20 for themselves.
and with Netflix and Hulu and the way TV is now, it's just there's too much competition for that to be a successful business model. Netflix, in people's eyes, even though they pay a monthly fee for it, Netflix is free, and they'd rather go watch a free movie on Netflix than go see something. Even if they really want to see it, they'll just think, oh, it'll either be on Netflix or I can Redbox it for $2 in a couple months. Like that's the way I see it, and I think that's how a lot of film goers see it. And that's what if they are able to make it where most of the movies are able to stream and get out to screeners, I think the Oscars will go as planned, even if the theaters don't open up right away and there's a shutdown in theaters. I think as long as there's enough movies get out there to screeners and they can actually do the show and honor the movies right and honor, like there's actual movies worth being nominated, like there's an actual field of contenders out there, they're going to have a show regardless. That's why I say that the movie theater is opening. It's like the movie business is still kind of in a question mark. Nobody really knows what's going to happen once the theaters open. Nobody really knows what's like. There's a few movies that are being talked about, like The Five Bloods and First Cow, are the two big Best Picture buzz ones I'm hearing about right now. But other than that, there's not a whole lot out there because of the shutdown. So that's what's going to be the determining factor this year is what and how it's presented.
Okay, so news number 2 I have is announcement that Bird Box 2 is in development. Does that interest you at all?
Is that the sound of that's the sound of Bullet movie? I didn't see.
Yeah. Oh,
That.
actually, I didn't either. I was depending on you to care about this because I don't know if I care about it.
Oh no, I haven't even seen it. I heard it was terrible. I never saw it. Unless Sandra Bullock's working with a director I really like Gravity. She was working with Alfonso Cuarón, who's a fantastic director. Like unless he's working with someone I like, I'm not gonna go see her stuff.
Bird Box didn't seem like a type of movie that I would really care about. But I know it got a big following once it came out. At least right when it came out, it made a big splash. I don't know if it was more of people actually liking it or people just making a big deal over nothing. Uh,
It sounds like it was a big deal or nothing. Like the movie, I've not read one good review for it. I've not met one person that said it was really good.
well, that's going to be all we can say about it because neither of us has seen it.
Exactly.
Okay, so last news story. Michael Keaton will be reprising his role as Batman in the Flashpoint. I believe this is a movie they're making of the Flashpoint comic book.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it's a good idea. I think people have been calling for him to make a return to that universe for a while now. They got really happy when he just showed up in the Marvel as in the first Spider-Man. Michael Keaton's very well loved as Batman, especially now. Like he might have gotten heat back in the early days from like the comic fans, but now he's kind of universally loved as one of the best Batmans. So I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's a good nostalgia move, I think, and it
I
doesn't sound like they're gonna give him his own series or anything. So it's a good little just nostalgia one off.
I think so too. I think that'd be really fun, especially like you said, to not like if they're going to make another Keaton movie or something like that. I think they would need to bring back Tim Burton too, because it'd be really weird to have Keaton outside of Tim Burton's view of Batman, which has been not completely, but very unique compared to the other Batman movies. Um,
I'm just glad they didn't let him touch Superman like they planned. I'm glad he didn't get to make it.
Speaking of that, I heard calls to get Nick Cage to come back and play Superman for the Flashpoint movie.
He's busy playing Joe Exotic right now, so we'll see. I
That's
don't know
it.
if you heard about that. You know he's gonna play Joe Exotic.
I think I did hear about that. I mean,
Yeah,
I know you were telling me to watch it. I honestly don't care about that show. It's
yeah.
just not my thing.
Uh,
Uh,
I, I don't know if you like it or not, but you should probably watch it before the TV show with Nick Cage because just for reference, because I'm not sure how much he's gonna nail it or not.
you know what? I am interested enough in Nick Cage to possibly check it out after
It's
Nick Cage.
him and
Yeah.
Kate McKinnon. I think yeah, Kate McKinnon's gonna play Carol Baskin, so that's gonna be interesting.
Uh, have you seen the test footage of when Nick Cage was going to be Superman in a movie and ended up being scrapped?
No, but I know he was supposed to play him. I've heard the stories from him and Tim Burton and Kevin Smith. And
Yeah.
honestly, from all involved, it sounds like the movie they were gonna make sounded like a piece of shit.
It
And it was good. It was glad they pulled the plug on it.
If nothing else, it's just really really weird, especially if you look at the test footage and stuff. It's just really weird.
Well, I don't think anybody was ready for a Spider-Man in the '90s. It wasn't a good time for the comic book movies in general. If they had made one of the 2000s, that'd be probably a lot like better received if they had Nick Cage then instead of Brandon Ross. Which I'm not bad mouthing, but I mean nobody knew who he was going into it. I don't even think I've seen the movie he's in, but I heard that thing's good. I saw the Henry Cahill ones. Those are the Man of Steel was pretty good.
Okay, so after that, let's go ahead and talk about our main feature today. It's going to be movies that we're looking forward to. Supposed to come out in the year 2020, have probably been pushed back, or might still be on release. But since we haven't really had much of a release of any movies yet this year, this is pretty much the same segment we could have had at the beginning of the year. So I'll give you first move. What movie are you looking forward to for the year 2020?
Well, I'm gonna go with the one that's coming up closest, and it's probably the one that I'm most looking forward to. Everybody's been talking about it since last year. Tenet, starring John David Washington, and it's the Robert Pattinson, and it's the new movie by Christopher Nolan. Nobody really knows what the fuck to expect from this movie. That's the first. I think that's why it has a lot of the buzz, despite being the Nolan movie. It's got a little bit of a different feel to it than his other movies. A little more of a mystique. Like his movies always have a little bit of that going to it. This one's a little different. Like I don't think people really know what to expect from this at all. And I think they're just going in expecting a wild ride. And that's what I'm looking forward to. The trailer does not give you too much detail on the story. You just know it looks interesting and it's action. That definitely has an action element to it. But I think it's going to be one of the movies. I think you're looking at a blockbuster there that has Oscar potential. Anytime Nolan's involved, he has Oscar potential. I don't think he has won an Oscar yet. I know he's been nominated. I don't think he might have won a screenplay. Well, I think he did win screenplay for Memento now that I think about it. But he hasn't won the best director yet. That's something that a lot of people think is going to be his one day. So this could be that if it's as good and groundbreaking as it's being made out to be. This could be a big Oscar movie. So I'm looking forward to that one.
I know when I first saw it, and even now I've seen a commercial for it not too long ago. It does look like an interesting movie. I don't know if it was on my list, but I'll tell you the reason why is because for me, a lot of the movies that I've looking forward to are the ones that have been hyped up for a while, and they're mostly Marvel and Disney movies, but that's because that's the type of thing I usually end up watching, and the type of thing that gets hyped for a long time in advanced. I do want to see Tenet though. Like you said, it's supposed to come. I thought the
I believe it's August 12th.
yeah, I was gonna say the
I think I checked last night. I think it's August 12th. They're like pretty much opening theaters to coincide with that because Nolan does not want it. Nolan's not going to let it go to on the streaming, and the studio wants it out because he's their only guaranteed money maker right now. Like outside of the Disney mold and the franchises and the Christopher Nolan's one of the few guaranteed money makers in the game right now. So they want to keep him happy and they want to make their money off this movie that they spent supposedly $200 million on the budget and God knows how much on marketing. Like they want that money back on this investment. So they're holding out. So
that's an interesting point you're making with expected amount of money to be spent on advertising and stuff. When you delay the movie, especially if you already started the campaign for advertising, all of a sudden you got to pay more to keep advertising, keep people interested the whole time it's being delayed.
Yeah.
Okay, so first, not really number one. I imagine it's probably the same with you. I don't really have this listed in order of like most anticipated. It's
either.
just movies that I am anticipating. I'm going to start with a movie that I probably would have seen by now if it were released and not pushed back, and that's the live-action Mulan by Disney.
Yeah.
It's very. I liked the cartoon version of it, and if nothing else, the costuming and the actors and actresses and everybody looks very, very interesting. I'm also interested in it being a bit more of a I was going to say a realistic take, and I know it's not really realistic, but they got rid of the Eddie Murphy Mushu character.
Yeah.
They got rid of the love interest guy. But judging from the few trailers that I have seen, they've also added in kind of the wire fu Chinese martial arts filming style, some magic. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think they've changed it up enough to where it's not going to be like Lion King where it's a shot-for-shot remake. It's going to be similar and yet different enough to make it something that I haven't seen already. So, yeah, again, a Disney movie. Although, then again, Disney owns like half the movies that are coming out now that they've bought Fox and Marvel. So it's hard not to pick Disney movies, but...
they've had Marvel forever too. Lucasfilm.
Yeah. That's right, Lucasfilm now too. Although they're on hiatus for other reasons.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, Mulan's probably one I would have seen now, and I'll be watching as soon as it does actually get released.
See, I was interested in that too. It did make my list. I'm not like super stoked they're making a live action of it, but I saw the trailer. And it looks like it was something I'd watch. I was probably gonna wait till DVD on it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't something I was super excited for, but it was something I was interested in because I did like the original. I thought it was a good, fun Disney animated movie. But yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't too sold on the idea of the live action one at first. Like I said, the trailer doesn't look bad, so I'll probably give it a look.
Yeah, for a lot of
Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say for a lot of the live action remakes, I'm not super into it, but I end up watching it. Kind of like The Lion King, and I know that's a lot of people's favorite Disney film. And I do like it. It's not my favorite, but I was like, what is there that it's adding that I need to see right now? So I think I ended up seeing that one either once it came out or when I went on a Disney cruise and it was on, on the theaters for free. So I know what you're saying.
Yeah, see, it was my favorite for a while. Finding Nemo took over that one for me for a while back, but Lion King is such a temple movie. And it is kind of a standard bearer in a lot of people's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll go on to my next one. Like I said, I don't really have these in any good order. I just got to start with the one I'm excited for. All the rest I'm about equally excited for, and I'm gonna go with The French Dispatch. That's my next one. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. I'm not even gonna try to attempt to name how many fucking stars he has in this movie because it's insane. But Benicio del Toro, Edward Norton, Bill Murray, Owen Wilson, Adrian Brody, Tilda Swinton, on and on and on and on. It's probably his most star-studded ever. First time working with Benicio del Toro, which is going to be interesting. Uh, but Wes Anderson movies are kind of have the typical of being they're all the same, but they're different. It's got the same style, but a different story every time. It's Wes Anderson and having fun. Do it like it's if you've seen one Wes Anderson movie, you've seen them all, but the stories keep you coming back. But this is his style is really what draws people to it, and this one looks very good. The trailer I thought looked better than his last movie, Isle of Dogs, which I enjoyed, but wasn't on the level of some of his other work. And it's looks like it's got a political feel to it. It's set in the past, but it looks like it's kind of an answer to the current times in the questionable journalism and things, and Republicans kind of taking, I don't want to say Republicans, conservative groups and other outside forces kind of taking over the news. But it's, I think that one comes out in October. But I am definitely hoping that one comes out on time. If they don't put it in theaters, I definitely want to stream that one.
I feel like Anderson films usually get released in October. I think Isle of Dogs was, and
Isle of Dogs actually came out in April. I
oh,
saw it.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember why. I was thinking that they.
Normally you're right. He's either Christmas time or October or September. But his last two actually came out in April. Grand Budapest Hotel came out at the same time. But he usually does come out in that time frame.
Yeah, I was thinking around the fall time, or autumn. Yeah, I didn't know about this movie, but now that you have mentioned it, and I'm a big fan of his, I think I will be going to see that as soon as it opens up.
Yeah.
This will be interesting for me. Very interested in seeing Jungle Cruise. It's another Disney film based on their ride, the Jungle Cruise. It's one of their first rides they put into Disneyland, and they have in all of their theme parks now. And this is going to be starring The Rock. I believe they've put out a they've put out a trailer for it. I remember it just being kind of generic adventure looking, but it has The Rock in it, and The Rock doesn't do bad stuff, so. So
I think Emily Blunt's in that one too, right?
Yeah, they're kind of co-starring in it.
Emily Blunt's usually pretty good too. I like her.
Yeah, and Disney wants it to be like another Pirates of the Caribbean, and I really don't think it's going to be. But if they want it to be, they're going to put that amount of time, that amount of talent, and that amount of money into it. And I think they're going to wind up with at least something that I want to see. So, especially because I don't know a whole ton about it right now, that makes it more intriguing for me. Hopefully they don't put out a bunch of stinker trailers that, kind of turn me away from it. But it's the Jungle Cruise, a ride I really like. It's got The Rock. It's got Emily Blunt. It's Disney, and I'm hoping it'll be a fun movie to watch once it comes out.
Yeah. I heard about that. I don't know much about it because I've never been to Disneyland. I don't really know anything about the ride, but it's got The Rock and Emily Blunt, and it will make at least $200 million in the U.S. So,
what's next for you?
Next time I list, I'm gonna go with one that I would have seen already if it wasn't for the shutdown. Black Widow. I think Scarlett Johansson is so underutilized in the Avengers movies. She was better utilized in the last few couple, definitely in the last one, and I would say in Civil War she was maybe a little used better. But I am looking forward to the origin story, learning about Natasha, learning about her, introducing us to her sister, whichever. And I'm not sure what the name of the character is. David Harbour is going to be involved too. I really like him. And there's rumors of a Robert Downey Jr. cameo. It's just anything Avengers, especially the old cast. I'm not 100% sold on this new phase of Marvel. There's aspects of it I like. Them getting Spider-Man back was a big step forward. That was a good move on this new phase. I'm looking forward to the new Black Panther. I'm looking forward to Inhumans. I'm looking forward to a few things, but I don't. It's gonna be hard to accept no. A lot of all the Avengers going away. It's gonna be hard on the box office too. I think they're gonna lose some of their like. It's gonna take some time to rebuild the franchise back up after that. But I'm looking forward to see what they do here. This is kind of the first. It's kind of the first step really after Avengers because I know Spider-Man came out after Avengers, but it was kind of linked with the relationship between him and Tony. Those were kind of those stories were kind of linked too. So this is kind of like the first post Avengers Marvel universe update, and it's kind of a throwback to Natasha too. And you get to see her after the way things went with Avengers. You get to see her one last time too. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that actually this was on my list too. So that's one I don't have to take up one of my spots with because you did for me. But yeah, like all the same reasons you said, I'm interested in her. She hasn't been explored very much. We're gonna get to meet more about, I guess Marvel outside of the United States, because this is gonna. I'm assuming, I believe, anyways, it takes place a lot inside of Russia. Um,
Yeah, Russia or Bulgaria. I'm not sure which one, but yeah, I knew
the
it wasn't. I knew
Eastern,
it wasn't in.
yeah, the Eastern Bloc somewhere. Um, so and it's still whatever cameos are going to be there. Like you said, it's going to be more of the old school, the first phase, second phase era. Sticking with Marvel, I'm going to go with the Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness movie. I really, really enjoyed Doctor Strange 1, more even so than I thought I would. I kind of like that mysticism, Tai Chi kind of Eastern lore it has to it. And this one's going to involve Scarlet Witch as part of it too. And it's going to be, from all things I've heard, directed as if it's a horror movie more so than an action movie. And I'm not a huge fan of horror movies, but if horror movies being done right with good story and more anticipation instead of jump scares, then I do have a good time with horror movies. So, and again, this is one of those movies where I don't know as much about it because I don't think there's even been trailers for it or set pictures or anything. So that's part of what makes it more intriguing for me is that I don't know as much about it. But I don't know if Doctor Strange qualifies as Phase 3 or if he's still part of Phase 2. But he is part of the phase that I still enjoy, and he's getting his second movie, so hopefully they do a good job with it. It's definitely one I'm looking forward to.
I think that was considered phase 2, but it might have been phase 3. I don't know the way they consider it, and it's debatable in some of those movies too. But I honestly I don't know what to think of him. Like I haven't seen the first Doctor Strange, so I need to see that before I see this. I liked him in the Avengers movies. I liked his cameo in the third Thor movie too. But I'm more excited. Of all the Marvel stuff coming up, really, the things I'm most excited for is stuff that's going to be on Disney Plus. I'm excited for the Winter Soldier. I'm excited for WandaVision. I'm excited for the Loki series. And I'm also excited for the Star Wars stuff, even though it's not really Marvel, but it's all Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for the Obi-Wan series. Is really interesting to me.
Yes.
But I like I said, the movies, Marvel, there's a lot of question marks. So I'm curious to see what the next few movies bring, and how they're going to use people like that.
It's
I
funny
think
that
Black Panther 2 will be a big launching pad for the next phases.
it's funny that you mention all the different properties that Disney has, especially that they're making that aren't movies. Disney Plus has so many things listed that they're going to come out with that I'm just sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and wanting it to come out. So, yeah, Star Wars wise, Marvel wise, just so much content that I'm just sitting here waiting for it to get released.
Yeah, Mandalorian season 2, you got that too.
Exactly, along with like you said, the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah.
What do you got next on your list?
I'll go ahead and it's a similar theme. Another one that I would have probably seen already is the new Wonder Woman 1984. Another pushback. Uh, uh, I really enjoyed the Wonder Woman. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Outside of the Dark Knight trilogy, I would say that's the best DC movie. Definitely the best franchise of the DC universe. I am a little nervous with the pushbacks, and I heard they had some issues on the set when they were shooting. I'm a little concerned it won't live up to the first one, but I think Gal Gadot has been a shot in the arm for that whole DC universe. She's one. Her and Jason Momoa are really the real watchable points of the Justice League stuff. Uh, 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 Ezra Miller is pretty good as a Flash too, but he kind of seems like a secondary to them. Like they stand out more than him. But I thought he was a good Barry Allen too. But I don't know if he could carry his own movie, like Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot did. As the addition of Kristen Wiig to some people, Kristen Wiig is going to throw some people off, and that's people who just hate Kristen Wiig. I'm a Kristen Wiig fan. I think she's really good in most of what she does. She doesn't always make the greatest choices, but she's one of the best comedians going today. Her work in Bridesmaids and her work on SNL is fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. Like I said, uh, that's the one that I was really pissed off I didn't get to see this summer. That's one I'd love to go see in summertime. Day it comes out, maybe a midnight showing. That's one I would have. That was the one I was really looking forward to going out to see this year.
Yeah, I was considering putting that on my list, and I do think I will be seeing it once it's out. I liked the first Wonder Woman, except the love interest. I don't remember exactly why now, but I remember it not being, like, not making sense to me. And then I also didn't like the just how long and extended the final boss battle was. But I could almost that's been basically my only problem with DC movies that have come out lately. Is usually the final battle is way too long and nonsensical and just like dark scenes of people beating each other up. Uh, but having it set in 1984, I think, is really interesting, and getting more, like you said, Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman outside of her island and outside of again, because this takes place so far after she's not going to have that same love interest. So
Actually, he's supposed to be in this.
oh, is he? I
I
was
don't know
just
how they're
assuming.
bringing him back, but they're bringing him back, from what I understand.
Well, at least that'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with it.
See, I actually liked him. I thought he was really good in that movie. He was one of the I thought they had good chemistry. Uh, I don't necessarily think the love story was necessary, but I thought it worked. It wasn't the thing I liked most about the movie. The thing I liked most about the movie was watching Gal Gadot on the journey to become Wonder Woman. I thought it was done very well. I thought she was perfect for the role and what they had her do. And she as long as she's on board, I think it'll be a good. I just don't know if it's going to be on the same level as the first one, which I thought was very, very good. I honestly thought you could have made an argument for Patty Jenkins for best director, not necessarily winning, but she should have been in the conversation for a nomination because I think she did wonders with that movie.
I'd have to see it again. I only saw it the one time, and because the final scene left a bad taste in my mouth, it overall left a bad taste in my mouth. Uh, but uh, that was pretty. Like the rest of it, though, I enjoyed, especially it's kind of like I had problems with I had more problems with Captain America's first movie and it being set in World War II. And I felt like this did a better job having the superhero in World War II than Captain America did, which is probably hot take, I guess. But that's how I felt about it, and that's what I enjoyed about it. Uh, so, I guess I don't know if they're trying to do this, but if they want Wonder Woman's movies to all be like period pieces, that's not a bad idea.
No, it's a nostalgic character. She's her time. She was, that the outfit is of that time.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing reeks of nostalgia, so it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, my next one I'm going to go with let's see here. Let's go with Shang-Chi. That is another Marvel movie, part of the third or fourth phase, whatever phase they're on now, whatever the newest phase is.
I think they're going. I think this new one is the fourth phase.
Yes, because Shang-Chi hasn't been part of it at all, so he's not like bleeding over from the last Avengers movie. This is all new. Um, and from what I understand, uh, like you said, we're wondering how the next phase is going to carry the Marvel franchise, if it's going to do as well as the earlier phases. And it's hard to imagine now, but when Iron Man first came out, really kicking off the first phase, Iron Man wasn't the most popular of the Marvel comics at the time. He was one of the more popular ones, but they kept trying to make movies with Fantastic Four and the Hulk and Captain America, because those were the biggest Marvel names. I mean, outside of Spider-Man, but they didn't own Spider-Man anymore. Um, but they did put Iron Man out there. Everybody did such a good job, and it was able to transition into the movies that they put afterwards, and it all bled together so well. I feel like they can keep that going, and as far as Shang-Chi's concerned, it says the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm wondering if that's a lot like the Legend of the Seven Rings, which is not a Marvel thing, but a more of a Eastern story that's been evolved and retold several times. I'd like to see some superheroes meet kung fu heroes kind of action movie here, and getting a different setting again outside of the U.S. if this is more of an Asian setting for the movie. And working in that culture into the movie, I think that'll make things a lot more interesting. Much in the same way that Black Widow's going to be kind of set in the Eastern European setting. So I got hopeful expectations for Shang-Chi, and we'll see if that, because this again, I don't. As far as I know, there's no set pictures. There's no trailers released for this yet, so I don't have a whole ton to go on. Just expectations. And my expectations are high for this.
Production.
It might not
or
have.
at least post production.
What? How much do you know about Shang-Chi?
I don't know anything about it. I've just read things about. I know they're making a shit. I know it's coming out. I know it's Marvel. I know it's part of the new phase. I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
I will say that the new phase, the Iron Man movies may not have been like Iron Man might not be the most popular Marvel character, but the Iron Man movie was from the beginning seen as a start to the Avengers franchise, because they even they have that thing at the end of the movie, the teaser. Like that's I think that the reason Iron Man did as well as it did was because they knew it was leading to the Avengers. And I think that excitement is a big part of why Iron Man became what it became.
Yeah, it might have been because at the time it was new to try and tie in a bunch of movies like that, and now it's kind of not new.
No, it's definitely not new now. They kind of invented that mold.
Yeah, the assumption, and I don't know if it's just an assumption or if it's been talked about realistically, is that they're going to be forming like a West Coast Avengers, because I know that is a thing, or if they're going to be forming an international Avengers. I don't know if that is a thing, but the thought is that the people from Phase 4 are going to band together, possibly with people from Phase 3, like a big part of the West Coast Avengers is Ant-Man.
Yeah.
As they showed in the movie, he had to travel from California all the way over to New York to join up with the regular Avengers.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do one more for each of us. So what's the last one on your list?
Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Promising Young Woman. It's first time debut is a debut from the creator of one of the creators and producers of Killing Eve. Um, it's got starring Carey Mulligan and also has Alison Brie, Bo Burnham, and there's one other name I can't think of. Oh, Christopher Mintz-Plasse and Connie Britton, and it's definitely an answer to Me Too culture and definitely sexual assault and all. It's definitely one of the first big movies like that to come out with since the Harvey Weinstein situation, and it's just openly about that, like right out the bat, no subtle messages. It looks really good. Uh, it looks like a very innovative and different take on the femme fatale genre. Um, I'll see anything with Carey Mulligan. I think she's one of the most underrated performers in Hollywood today. She was robbed of that Oscar in '09 for Sandra Bullock, which I will actually give props. I did see The Blind Side, and Sandra Bullock was good. She wasn't Carey Mulligan in Education good. I'm just gonna say that. Robbed, but yeah, I'm really excited for this. It's been a long time since I saw a trailer that very innovative and different. The movie I'm reviewing today is another one that was that came. I saw that after I saw this trailer for Promising Young Woman, but it's nice to see different innovative movies being made again because there was a lot of fear and a lot of like weird different independent movies were getting pushed to the side for a long time now. I think Parasite and a few other movies being successful. Uncut Gems is another one. It may not have gotten its praise from the Oscars anyway. Other awards places showed respect, but Uncut Gems was a hit. It might not have made Avengers money, but Uncut Gems made money, and it was successful. People are talking about it, and that's a big part of this, along with a few other, like I said, few other movies that have come out recently. Parasite is another one that's very different and successful, and unique. And I think there's a little more emphasis on creation, more where, like you said, like the Marvel is kind of going away, and DC their stuff has not worked successfully. Star Wars is on hiatus. Franchises are kind of on the, I wouldn't say on the decline necessarily because they're always going to make money, but they're not what they were 5-6 years ago. And I think you're going to be seeing more stuff like your Christopher Nolan's and your Quentin Tarantino's and stuff of that nature is going to get a little more attention now until you see more of a just dominance again from the franchises, because things are kind of a question mark right now, and in times of question, start to get a little more creative and different. They have to take chances.
Yeah, everything you just said there is very correct and a good observation. I personally hadn't heard of this movie at all until I was getting the picture for you, and I still don't know anything about it, so I just need to research it a bit more. But if you're recommending it, it usually means it's a good film, so I'm gonna be paying attention for when that does release.
That was one of those weird indies that even Ryan thought looked good. Like we and Ryan, we saw that trailer for it at Bad Boys 3, and Ryan was like, "Damn, that looks good." And that was not something I expected Ryan to like. So,
there's a lot of.
It looks good.
There's not a lot, but there are some movies where, especially a surprise trailer that I wasn't expecting to see, will drop in the middle of a movie that I'm already at, and it impresses me so much that I end up watching a movie that I otherwise would have just not even known existed. I know that happened with Can You Ever Forgive Me when I saw Melissa McCarthy, and I'm like, and then I was watching the trailer, and I'm like, wow, this actually looks good.
See, I still haven't finished that. I watched most of that. It was good when I saw it.
Yeah, I don't know if it really has a big finish to it, but a driving force to get you to finish the movie. But it's pretty even keel the whole way through. Just what is happening. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
My last movie, and I know this was on your list too, is There we go. No Time to Die, James Bond, 007. I believe it's the last Daniel Craig James Bond. Is this
as of right now?
number 5 for Daniel Craig.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. In a world where everybody's making uh, what do you call it? 3-movie series. This is a 5-movie series, I guess. But it looks like they're actually putting the time and care they need to into this James Bond movie, and not just putting one out there for the sake of having one out there, so that it just makes money from people who will go see James Bond movies no matter what. Because when Daniel Craig's been in good James Bond movies, they've been really good, and he's also been in really bad James Bond movies, and it's stuff I wish I hadn't seen and don't plan on seeing again. So I'm going to compare this to the movies that I've seen that I do like, and hopefully it lives up to those expectations. I've seen a little bit from it, but I haven't seen a lot from it, and I kind of want to keep it that way for a franchise like James Bond, where I have some trust that they're going to put out good stuff. I don't want the whole movie to be spoiled for me. I kind of want to go into it not knowing as little as possible, so that I can get the best experience out of it as I'm watching it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. Like I said, I'm not a big James Bond guy, but I like Daniel Craig. The ones that I've seen, I didn't see the one that everybody said was terrible. But I've seen all of them besides I think it was no time. No, it was I don't even remember what the name of the second one was, but it was the second one of his movies. I enjoyed Casino. I enjoyed. I didn't see Casino Royale either. Now I think about it, but I saw Spectra and the third one.
I don't remember the name of it either.
But I just say they're both good, and I think he's a good actor. So yeah, I'm gonna go definitely. And I believe it's Rory was the guy from Bohemian Rhapsody. I can't think of his name now, but the guy who won the Oscar.
Malik.
He's the bad guy in this one, right?
Now that you mention it, he might be.
I'm pretty sure he is. No, yeah, I was thinking it might have been the last one, but no, the last one was Christoph Waltz. I don't know why, because I've seen the last one, but no, yeah, Christoph Waltz was the bad guy in the last one. Yeah, no, yeah, it's gonna be Rami Malek, and he's hot off an Oscar. Fantastic actor. He was fantastic on Mr. Robot, despite them fucking it up after the second. I won't even say after the first season. I was about to say second season. About midway through the second season, they fucked the whole thing up. But he was great on it. Good actor. I think it's going to be an interesting movie.
So we're in agreement there for sure. Well, we have a few more on our list, but I'm sure you guys all have more on your list too. So if you're watching this on YouTube, put down some in the comments what movies you're looking forward to. And if we start getting some comments like that, I wouldn't mind responding, hey, I agree, or no, I'm not looking forward to that one, or whatever. But good to get your voice out there and see what everybody else is looking forward to too.
In case there's any nerds out there disappointed we didn't mention Dune. Dune was on my list. It's just low on the list. So, but I am at least I am excited for Dune. So don't make fun of me for not mentioning Dune.
For Dune, I'm probably going to see it, and I'm probably going to be excited to see it. But at the moment, I don't know enough about it. So it's the same thing where I thought about putting it on my list. But if I did, it was going to be towards the bottom of my list too. So yeah. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do a couple of individual reviews here, and as usual, I'll go ahead and start us off. I had watched... Let's get a picture of it. This is a movie called Kite. This is from 2014, directed by Ralph Simon, whose only other big movie that he directed I could see was Gangster's Paradise. This is starring India Isley, also from Underworld Awakening, Colin McAuliffe. Wait, let me make sure I say that right. Colin McAuliffe. He's from also from Gatsby, and he has a reoccurring character in Walking Dead. And Samuel L. Jackson. This is a live-action version of a anime movie from probably the early 90s, and which is why I was watching it. That and Samuel L. Jackson being in an anime movie also made me interested. Granted, he also did Old Boy with um, a few others. The American version of Old Boy, which is also based off.
Spike Lee, yeah, that was Spike Lee.
Yeah, that's based off not anime but manga, but anime manga pretty much the same thing. Uh, so this is very similar to the anime movie. It's kind of like they wanted to recreate it as much as possible while staying a live action movie, trying not to get too much live action and acceptable for most viewers, because the anime is based off as has a lot of gore and has some nudity and sex scenes. This movie still has a lot of gore, although not as much. No nudity or sex scenes. And some of the fight scenes that they had, they basically changed because it'd be way too hard to do in real life or to make it look real with special effects. But beyond all that, this movie is about a girl named Sawa who is an assassin. She wears costumes and usually pretends to be a hooker to get close to targets. She uses guns with exploding bullets so that once they shoot somebody, once they're already inside the person's body, they explode, which just creates a ton of gore. She works for a man who's Lieutenant Aker, which is Samuel L. Jackson. That is kind of her guardian and took her in after her parents died. He is higher up in the police force and can use his intel to track down the targets that he's sending her after, and can clean the scene of clues after they start investigating it so that the police don't catch on. He makes the targets that he goes after are drug dealers and pedophiles, so that she feels like she's kind of doing the world justice by getting rid of the same type of people that killed her parents. The boss, Samuel L. Jackson's character, Aker, has her addicted to drugs so that she becomes obedient to him, basically. So Sawa meets the younger boy, Oburi, who knows what's going on, and kind of tries to warn her that, she's doing his bidding, and she's being paid in drugs, basically, and that's making her obedient to him. This Oburi is also an assassin who's trying to get out of the business. It turns out that Lieutenant Aker, Samuel L. Jackson's character, killed Sawa's parents and has been using her to kill off his drug rivals, basically. And that's kind of the plot of the story, with a little more intricacies. It's not too amazing. I know there's been a lot. I can think of a couple other stories that also have, the person who's the mentor turns out to be the person that killed the character's parents, but it's interesting enough to move the plot along. The first thing about the movie is that it isn't bad, but it's also not good. It's lacking in a lot of heart, really, is what it seems like. And I see that a lot of anime remakes, where it's somebody might be like a super fan of the anime or of anime in general, and they want to make their anime movie, and they try too hard to make it exactly the same to where it doesn't have that feel of somebody who's creating their own project, that kind of attachment that they have to it. Samuel L. Jackson is such a better actor than everyone else in the movie that it makes things seem off. And that's kind of the same way I felt with Daniel Radcliffe in Guns Akimbo. It's kind of like the movie blew their whole budget on buying one actor and then kind of had to make do with everything else. He's also the only person in the movie with an American accent. Everyone else is British. And also they still use their Japanese names, which just adds to the weirdness. It's like, I don't know what they should have done. I think maybe they should have Americanized their names, because they don't really need the Japanese names, and it really doesn't make sense when they're not Asian, they're Caucasian, and I guess this is being set in Britain because everybody speaks with British accents. except for Samuel L. Jackson. And I don't know if if they would want to try and make Samuel L. Jackson speak in a British accent or not. So, but when you just have him speak like he's an American, and there's nothing in the story about him being an American, it just is really weird. Um, the special effects they had for the gore was pretty well done. They just didn't use a whole lot of it, and I didn't know if it was just because of the budget fell through, or if they didn't really want to make it too unrealistic. Like there was supposed to be kind of like a fight where two people get pushed out the window and they're kind of battling each other as they're falling stories to the ground. And they didn't really do that because in real life it wouldn't really work that way. So it might have just been I don't know if it was the budget choice or if they were just not wanting to go that direction creatively. The pacing for the story kind of gets muddled with the story elements. Acre is being the killer could have been a big reveal, but it was just kind of played out like the rest of the story was, where it was kind of even keeled. There wasn't a big climax or anything. It could have been a climax like, oh my gosh, he's the killer, but instead it was just kind of like he's being mean and rude and mistreating the main character, Sawa, and you kind of get that, and then he's like, oh yeah, and also I killed your parents. So it felt like that was an opportunity to really make the movie a bit more dramatic. What made the anime work was the beautiful action scenes and the gore that was within it and the character development. This is kind of what really lacked from the live action, minus the gore. There was gore, but they didn't really do the action scenes well. And again, I don't know if it's just because the stylization of animation and anime makes it work a lot better, or in a way that wouldn't work in real life, or if they just didn't do a good job. The costumes and makeups were supposed to look very anime and popish, but just came off as looking like people in not very good Halloween costumes. The bright spot again are Samuel L. Jackson and the gore, and I kind of feel like that might have been all they really focused on. So unfortunately, even though it might still be worth a watch if you're into any of these kinds of things enough, just overall, I don't think it's a great movie and wouldn't recommend it to anybody who doesn't specifically want to that kind of movie. So I'm giving it a 2 beards out of 5. Below average, but it had bright spots. It wasn't completely unredeemable. And
so this must have been around that time when Samuel L. Jackson was churning out movies left and right, and you couldn't keep up with it, because there's a bunch of movies he put out around like the last 5 or 6 years that I didn't even realize they were out till they were out on DVD. I never even heard of that. So
yeah, it's really funny. I was just looking around in the public library, and I saw it sitting on the shelf. It was a little bit after it came out, and I was like, what the heck? I'm into anime. I like Samuel L. Jackson, and I didn't even hear of it. And the only reason I saw it was because it was sitting right there. It's weird that it got past me, but yeah, it wasn't something that should have spent too much money on advertisement, because it would have just been wasted.
yeah.
So next we have your movie.
Yes. My movie came out on Hulu yesterday. I have already watched it a few times. It is called Palm Springs. It stars Andy Samberg, Kristen Milotti, and J.K. Simmons. It is the first feature for Max Barbacow, and it was the first screenplay for Andy Sierra. So 2 new fresh talents, and they really deliver here. I love this movie. I from the second it began till the end of it, I was on board the whole time. It's a great comedy. The best way it's going to be compared to Groundhog Day. So the best way I can describe it is like Groundhog Day on meth. It is R-rated, amplified, and way more dirtier and way more of a science fiction-y vibe than Groundhog Day, but it's going to be compared to Groundhog Day because it's a similar time loop scenario. Basically, the whole point of this movie is Andy Samberg. From the beginning of the movie, you see all you see is this like a mysterious explosion, and then Andy Samberg wakes up, and you see him interacting with a girlfriend. And as they show this first day going on, you kind of tell Andy Samberg knows everything that's going on. He's in like he's acting different than everybody else. He seems like he's been there before, and he starts hitting on the maid of honor, even though his girlfriend's there with him, and starts hitting on her. He takes her out for a stroll, and they're hitting it off. And then all of a sudden, he's attacked by some random guy. She has no idea what is going on, and he goes off somewhere, and she ends up following him. And then I don't want to give away too much of the whole story because it's a very you don't want to know everything going into it because you want to have a few surprises. But she basically ends up with him the next day, and they're both stuck in it. And she realizes that it was him who had gotten her there. So they're both stuck in the same day over and over again, much like Groundhog Day. And they're spending much. She wants to find a way out immediately, and he has been there so long, has no idea how long he has been stuck in this day. Could be centuries in his time, and so he has no interest, and he just wants a new buddy to pal around with him and just fuck shit up in this alternate reality that he's stuck in. And they end up, as you can assume, they end up falling in love, and it's a really good twist on the romantic comedy. And it's going to be compared to a lot of movies and say it's a ripoff, but it really has its own style and is very unique and different. It's the one of the best comedies I've seen in a long time. I really like The King of Staten Island, but this is different level stuff. This is a very innovative and could have an impact on the genre. If it doesn't make a whole lot of money, there's going to be a whole lot of people trying to make a movie like this because it killed at Sundance. Biggest buy from any distributor ever at Sundance, 17.5 million. Just for Hulu to put it on TV on their site, pretty much for Hulu subscribers. But J.K. Simmons is also stuck in this reality with him. The story behind that I'm not going to get into, but we're just going to say that he's the nemesis of Andy Samberg and likes to show up and occasionally try to murder Andy Samberg, depending on which day it is and how he's feeling. It's so well acted. I haven't seen a lot of Kristen Milioti's work. I've seen her in a few things, but nothing really memorable. She's really fantastic here. J.K. Simmons steals every scene he's in, but he's in it for a very short amount of time. The big talk here is Andy Samberg, by far the best acting of his career. He's known for silly stuff, and there's silly stuff here, but there's also meat to this role, and you really feel for this character. He is the glue to this movie, and he does a fantastic job. You're with him the whole time. I was with him the whole time. Is very well shot too, for the low budget. Like I said, it was an indie that was bought at Sundance. Without Andy Samberg's name, I don't think this would have gotten made. So Andy Samberg and probably J.K. Simmons, even though he has a small role, he's a big name. But it's definitely something I would highly recommend you stream now. It's being on Hulu. It is pretty accessible. Most people have Hulu these days. It's kind of replacing cable. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a big limb here. I'm gonna give this one 5 out of 5. We're doing like just likes. When I do the beauties and I'm judging movies down the road, this may not get that rating, and it may not be the best movie of the year on my beauties list, but just going by sheer enjoyment here, I gotta give it 5 out of 5. There's nothing about it I didn't like.
Yeah, I didn't know this movie existed until you said you were watching it to review, and I apparently I surprised you when I said I like Andy Samberg. So this is a movie that I do want to see at some point, especially because it's a Hulu original film, so I can just go watch it without having to find a way to watch it by questionable means. And Yeah, I'm glad we're on the opposite ends. I watched a movie that I didn't give a good grade. You watched a movie that you gave an excellent grade. So we can give somebody a good recommendation instead of just telling them what not to watch. Okay, well, I think that's going to wrap up our bearded review for today. Um, much like how we gave our movies, we give our movies thumbs ups and thumbs downs. If you liked our podcast, you should give our podcast a thumb up on YouTube. Let us know that you like it. And if you enjoy these podcasts, feel like subscribing so that whenever we put a new one out, you will be alerted and you can go watch it. Hopefully we can get them out weekly, sometimes bi-weekly. Doesn't really matter. We just put them out whenever we're ready. So we will see everyone again, hopefully next time. Have a good day.
Kanye 2020.